Wow. And the first thing I saw, there was the missed putt, he came off, and then you ask him what was going on, and all of them, for the most part, were negative in terms of what they focused on. Is that common?
I know, it's like, being in Sweden, I thought the only Swedes answered that way, but then I've been a lot in the US, and I realized even in the US, and golfers are all around the world, I think it's, at least in the golf culture, very easy that we always start talking, no matter what we shoot, start talking about things that didn't go well.
Right.
So I like to ask them more open-ended questions just to see what they would by themselves choose to focus on.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like that was consistent in all of the clips, because I remember earlier on where Dave, I think, said that his on a scale of 1 to 5 was 4.5, and your approach was, what could you do to make it a 5? Mm-hmm. And is that pretty standard in terms of your Coach 54 model, that you focus on the positive and what you can do to improve?
Yeah, absolutely, and for many, many reasons. One thing is, like, we know whatever I put attention on, and there's maybe a little emotion attached to it, it gets stored strong in our brain. And our golfers, they want to stand over important putts or shots and have like positive memories somewhere in them. But the only way you can ever get that is if you have focused on what you've done well. So that's where we figure out we can't afford to miss out on this opportunity. And if you never do it, you're never going to be able to be a confident player.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, as a coach, it's you're balancing helping them develop their competence in different areas. That would be the better, but you also want to help them develop their confidence, and to only focus on the things that didn't go well in the round. That's just focusing on the competence area.
Yeah, and another thing that I noticed, that this in a lot of ways is very similar to some stress management techniques, because you prepare them before, you give them some strategies in coaching themselves during, and then you have them evaluate what they did well at the end. It seems to flow very nicely with that kind of model.
Yeah.
Now, does this work with everybody from elite down to novice?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. Yes, if you're from China or Sweden or US or old or young or professional, everybody. And as I said, we find it's so important to do that and really take in the good stuff too. It's easy to be like kind of proud and take it for granted. Especially good players do that,
right,
when they really need to take it in. And then get to the better too. And it goes on to how, so actually some action happens, because I say I can get allergic to just talking about stuff and then nothing happens. So it needs to land in something that we then can follow up on.
Yeah. We had a player recently who tried to qualify for an event, and she was disappointed. She didn't accomplish her goal. But afterwards, it was like, okay, now tell me something in that experience I know was good, okay, and then tell me what can be better. And it was interesting because we received an email, and she said just going through the good, better, how process, she was able to sort through it and get a more objective, productive view on what can she do now to prepare for the next event. It's not just about pumping them up and all that. It's just that they can objectively sort what the experience was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, we've had many players who have never ever done this in their entire life. So for months, we'll just have them do 10 goods to no betters. And it will take them a long time. So I didn't do anything well, and we just have to help them along. Maybe like, did you get there on time for your tee time? I said, yeah, okay. Did you make help them along, so they haven't ever focused on it. So they might stay on the 10-to-0 ratio for quite a while before they have some kind of a baseline.
Okay. So you're going to build on those positives and then help people really evaluate what they're doing more objectively. Sounds like you also want them to enjoy their successes and celebrate those along the way.
Absolutely.
You're focused on the process, and then the end result is probably going to be better scores, which seems to be the end game anyhow for a lot of people.
Might even show up in better swings.
Yeah.
Okay.